Why? Okay. Yeah, whatever. We'll keep everything on the screen. It doesn't really matter. All right, let's talk roster moves. So I was gone last week. Went on a cruise with the wifey to Bermuda. And when I got to Bermuda, we have like some service from our phones. And I saw that shit hit the fan. And mostly in Europe, but a lot of roster moves happened over the span of the last week and a half. So I figured let's go over it. Let's see. We'll rate them or whatever, say positive, negative. We'll see how it goes. Who knows? Probably all these roster moves could change because obviously the RLCS roster lock has not happened yet for Season 8. So it could all change once again, which we've seen already a lot in Europe where people leave a team, join back a team, leave again. Wild. Anyway, let's go over what we know today, what is happening. And then we'll talk about, what could still happen, I guess. All right, so let's get into it. So for NA, it's not that difficult so far. Cloud9 is the same. G2 is the same. Energy, they picked up Turbo Pulsa, so another cross-transfer or cross-regional transfer move. Turbo Pulsa, after leaving / got kicked by Dig, he is coming over to Energy. And I think this is a really good move for Energy. Like, obviously, Turbo, he's Turbo, so he's a 3-time. He didn't have the greatest season last season, but I think, we'll see how that plays out here. Maybe that's team atmosphere. Maybe it's partially that Turbo's, maybe slacking a bit. Maybe just the team atmosphere wasn't great. Or is it just that Turbo is being surpassed by everyone else? I doubt it's that. So I assume that this will be a good move for Energy and for Turbo Pulsa. It'll re-energize Turbo. He'll be in a good atmosphere as well. He's really good friends with Garrett. So I think this is a great move for this team. And if you're going to plug and play anyone to come into a team, Turbo Pulse is not a bad pick. So I think Energy is looking extremely strong coming into the season. So a very positive roster move for them over Fireburner, who retired. I think Turbo can do exactly what Fireburner did, probably just with better mechanical play, in my opinion. So I think it's still a better move. Fire is a great player, but Turbo is on a whole nother level. So that's a great move there. Ghost Gaming's the weird one. So they kicked Lethamyr, where we saw a lot of rumors going on, like, is Lethamyr going to be kicked or not on Wikipedia? Then we saw the Steam message from Lethamyr to Illusion, I think it was. And they're still trying out people right now. It looks like the front runner is Atomic, the player that was too young to participate. What was it, 3 seasons ago? Or 2 seasons ago, where he participated under someone else's name. He got a suspension from RLCS for a year or a year and a half after he turned 15, and now he's eligible to play once again. So we'll see if he's going to be one joining this team. The other player a lot of people think could happen is Drippe, but I think Drippe, the odds were more in favor of the Peeps or Birds and the Bees just because they don't have an org. So if EG came in, it's a lot easier. There's not a lot of money changing hands, where if EG wants to pick up Ghost, then they got to buy out the 2 Ghost players. So I think that's a little bit more difficult. But that's still up in the air right now for Ghost. Lately, they've been using Atomic for stuff. I'm actually going to go into their page here a little bit. We might have to go off full screen to go back because I can't remember what the shortcut is for back. But let's look at their past results. I think they've had, mostly they've been playing with Atomic. So in the Rival Esports Open, oh crap. I shouldn't have done this. No full screen. We'll just come off full screen for now, just so it's easier. So in this one, they played with Atomic, and they finished 4th. So they took down Team Frontline, which is kind of no names, and then lost to the Peeps 4-2. But they also played in the Beyond tournament. So we'll go there, and we'll show. I think it was also Atomic for this one. Yep, it was Atomic for this one. So, 2 in a row. But they're still trying out players, right? Who knows? Maybe after these results, maybe they don't want to go with these guys. But for the Beyond tournament, it was much better results. This was when Birds and the Bees was playing with Drippe, and they 3-0'd them. So they lost to PS4 Legends. So again, players that you don't hear from too much. Like, I think people have heard of Demon, but, for the most part, it's still a decent result that you beat an RLCS peer. So we'll see if that result happens, or do they go with Drippe? Do they go with someone else? We'll have to see. Moving on. we can go back a little bit here. So that's Ghost. So Ghost is the one that's up in the air. You assume Cloud9, G2, and Energy are all extreme locks. Like, I don't expect anything to change. Same with Rogue. They haven't played in a ton, to my knowledge. They've played in some and not had the greatest results after their top 4 finish at the RLCS. But, yeah, like, they lost to Birds and the Bees in the DreamHack Montreal qualifiers to finish 7th. But they haven't played, like, a ton after that. But you assume that they would stay the same unless something big happens late. So you assume Rogue's the same, but I wouldn't put them as a guaranteed lock like I would with Cloud9, G2, and NRG. So we'll see what Rogue does, but very likely the same. Space Station Gaming, pretty much locked here as well. We got Typical, AXB, and Arsenal. That was like the first roster move that came out, was Space Station kicking Sathu, picking up Arsenal from the Peeps. And I thought that was a pretty solid move. Like, I thought Sathu was, like, he's a very good communicator, or a good captain, I guess, on the team, but I felt like his on-field performance wasn't up to snuff compared to his teammates. So, like, if they were going to make any move, I felt like Sathu was the one to go. And so they go with Arsenal, and I think that that's a good pickup for them. They've had some results, but this team is basically a lock. I would say they're right with Rogue, probably most likely locked unless something weird happens. Because also, when you have an org and you sign a player, it's a little bit different than when you don't have an org and you sign a player or you start practicing with the player. Like, Space Station signed Arsenal, so it's a little bit different. Usually those are pretty much locks. Peeps have been trying out a bunch of different people once Arsenal left. So Gyro and Reddles, they tried out Karma. I believe they played with Drip A for at least one tournament. I could be wrong there. They tried out Atomic as well. But then looks like they snagged Mist. So it seems like Mist was one of those players that teams were looking for. Like, Birds and the Bees, they lost out on Mist. And then he just moves over to a team that was kind of their peers, right? But he moves over to the Peeps, and I think that's a pretty good pickup. But I can't remember who else they tried out. I know they tried out Karma. I'm going to look through their results really quick. Let's see. Wasn't Sizz retired? Was he listed under Rogue? Then he's just their sub as like a last gasp thing. Like, if anything bad happens, like the internet goes out for someone, then he'll play there. So for the closed qualifier, here, let's look at a couple of these. Not the 2v2 because that doesn't really matter. Yeah, they played with Karma at Dallas, and I guess the closed qualifier is the only other big thing. Who are we looking at? Peeps. They played with Atomic for that, but they decided to go with Mist, and I think that's a good pickup. Is Mist better than Arsenal? I think so, probably slightly. I'd say that this is a neutral move for the Peeps, just because I felt like they had a lot of momentum with Arsenal, and then obviously Arsenal leaves. Like, they can't really do much about that. But I'd say it's pretty much a neutral move, just because I think Mist is one of those players that is one of those up-and-coming talents that I feel like is really starting to escalate in the scene, where he started out as like a top 25 player. Then every time we see him, it's like, oh, this guy's pretty good, top 20, top 15, maybe even a top 10 player by the start of RLCS Season 8. We'll see how he plays. But he's impressed most of the time when we see him play, and I think that's a big reason why Birds and the Bees is here in the RLCS. Moving over to that, they got Ajax. So they tried out Drip A. I believe they played with Atomic a little bit too. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they're going with Ajax. That they've had pretty good results with him. But I do think that obviously this is still a negative, losing Mist. But we'll see. I don't think Birds and the Bees were expected to do much this season either way. I felt like they were that new team coming in that everyone expects to be back in the promotion tournament, and I think this kind of solidifies their spots. But I say that now, who knows? Like, Ajax has had some good results with them. They obviously beat the Peeps. But usually, like, the off-season results, I feel like when a team is trending towards a certain way at the end of a season, and then they have, like, fantastic off-season when, like, teams maybe are not practicing as much, I still tend to put them where they were at the end of the previous season, because I feel like teams will ramp up and play better when we get into more of a seasonal form. Because right now, there's literally nothing to play for, except for trying out different rosters. except for the teams that are going to Beyond the Summit. But Beyond the Summit, I'm not sure how the prize pool splits out, but I assume it doesn't split out drastically. So I assume it's more for fun anyway. So I don't think people are really training very, very hard for that. So I wouldn't be too worried about that as well. So the offseason, we'll see. But Birds and Bees, they're definitely going to be a team a lot of people predict to be in that promotion tournament spot. But who knows? They could surprise. It's going to be tough, I feel like, because the big three got better with Energy picking up Turbo. So it's like, Rogue, it depends if they can do what they did towards the end of last season, or if they fall back down to their mediocre performances. We saw that at DreamHacks, and who knows with them. I'm not sure exactly where to put them yet. But if a team's going to fall out of that top four, it's definitely going to be Rogue, right? I don't think we see that happening from the other three teams, but it's possible with Turbo that Energy falls down a little bit. Yeah, so that's NA. NA, not that hard. Not too much drama. Probably the most drama was Sathu being very angry about his teammates kicking him in there for Space Station. But I didn't think that was a terrible move, personally.